guys, Radical Reggie here, and I'm going to see a movie I should have saw weeks ago, and that is Blade Runner. But what I want to talk to you guys about is a PRG panel I did with my buddy Darren. He's doing a documentary called The Bits of Yesterday, and I want you guys to take a look at it. I'll give you more details at the end of the video, so stay tuned.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Darren Peliquin. I've been working on a film for almost 2 years now. It's called The Bits of Yesterday, and I'm happy to show it here today at Portland Retro Gaming Expo. The film actually kind of got its start here in some form or another. One of 3 conventions will be highlighted in the film. But for today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a small preview, if you will, of the film. And then I'll introduce some of the people that are in the film, and we'll do a quick Q&A, and we'll talk, and that's what we'll do. I appreciate you guys all coming out. I know it's late. I know the auction is right around the corner, and everyone's super, super anxious for that. So without further ado, I'll stop talking, and I will introduce you to just a small bit of the Bits of Yesterday.
My name's Joe Witter. Cricket. You ever wanted to play cricket? That's the only way to do it. Find a pal Wii and pay that insane shipping.
My name's Ryan Dart. Couple lightsabers in here. You have to have lightsabers. My name is Sean Long.
Learn the Macarena in 5 minutes, or New Kids on the Block hanging top live. Tough decision, but 75 cents can't beat it.
Hello. My name is Tony Priscillo.
You have your poker face on.
I don't have a poker face. You can.
My name is Reggie Williams. One of the most radical ones here. That guy. Dude, that's really awesome, dude. I'm so stoked about that, dude.
For me personally, I love cleaning a game up, getting it back to that showroom shine. I love putting it back, putting it on the shelf, alphabetizing it, all that. Yeah, it all plays a part in my obsession with it anyway.
And so I guess the reason I collect is pretty much just to build a monument to my passion for video games and, you know, have something for my kids to see one day and, you know, play and enjoy like I do, hopefully.
When I was like 24, I had to sell a bunch of stuff because I had quit my job. So a lot of this collection is actually different, but I sold a lot of Wii stuff, 360 stuff, some NES stuff just to get some quick cash. So I once again started when I was like 27. I decided that I wanted to actually keep everything and not sell it and just have it.
Ooh, that is fancy.
They call me PlayStation Williams back in the military, so now I got the official sign title on it. I can't. I showed that to my mom, and she was like, "Whoa, that's all you needed."
That's right up your alley.
Yeah, dude. If I had to shoot to any system I had, man, I'd be the PlayStation. That's no hands down.
Video game collecting seems to affect people because it's like picking up all the pieces of your childhood and putting them back together. So it's a lot of things you remembered as a kid, but it's also things you didn't remember, like where was I when this came out?
Basically, everybody, when they get to a certain age, I think, kind of starts missing their childhood to a degree. They start thinking about things that they grew up with. And for me, one of the biggest things that I grew up with was video games.
Video games affected me very personally because when I was younger, my parents went through a divorce, as I'm sure many kids did. And for me, it was sort of a bit of a solace away from the process of my parents going through a divorce. So I sort of latched onto video games and in sort of a manner of speaking, it sort of carried me through that sea of hurt, really.
How and why did I start collecting games?
Pure boredom, yeah, and just remembering a few classic games that I really wanted to play. And I don't know if it had to do with me having children, like, hey, you know, getting that nostalgia feeling.
It's definitely a lot to do with memories for me. Even more than memories, it was the feeling I had of security. So that was huge for me. So it kind of sparked the nostalgia and the security I felt, you know, based on the comfort that they provided me when I was younger. So, yeah, flipping through old Nintendo Powers or Nintendo Fun Club news, those are great ways to kind of rekindle the spirit of what we experienced when we were younger.
I was young, grew up poor, started from the very bottom. My mom worked 3 jobs, and I didn't have a father, so I think I moved to collecting to find that security or whatever.
It's a great way to rekindle your childhood, and I think that's something that, aside from this hobby, this transcends this hobby. We all want to go back to that simple time, and for me, capturing those video games that I had really gave me that feeling.
Well, I've always played games, and since in high school and when I was younger, I didn't really have friends who played games. So I didn't really realize collecting was like a thing. I was like, I like this game, I'm gonna buy it and play it to death. But actually, I started working at a video game store when I was in college, and I was like, oh, these games come in and I can just buy them with a discount? And then that kind of exploded from there.
Back in the late 70s, all my friends were collecting baseball cards and stuff like that, and it didn't really interest me. And so when Atari 2600 came out, I bought a couple of games. I was like, hey, I'm going to start collecting this because I love playing games and I'll be able to have more games that way. So I decided to become a collector for the Atari 2600.
We were at a flea market, Treasure Isle, Turtle Creek
right.
Flea Market,
You're right.
exact. And I walk in this booth while they're all eating lunch in the food court. Who eats food at a food court at a flea market anyway?
What he's not telling you is he bought 100 Pez dispensers that same day.
I did. But I go in the store and I see all these old games that's bringing back memories from when I was younger, and I was like, man, why don't I play these games anymore?
I think video games, for me and probably a lot of people in my generation, it sort of defines who we are. And I don't remember a time in my entire childhood where I didn't have a video game to play. You know, whether it was Pong with my father, or Legend of Zelda, or Blaster Master with my brothers.
I can honestly state that some of my happiest experiences in my life have been connected to video games, playing video games, the people I've met through video games. So the one-word answer for me is fun.
Let's talk about video games, shall we?
Video games? What are video games? Never heard of them.
For most people, they're their lives.
Yeah, well, it's consumed my life. That's for sure. Not a doubt.
Why are you surrounded by them?
So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much obsessed with video games.
Sorry.
This is where GameCube sports games come to die.
Worst thing about video game collecting.
The term resellers has a certain connotation to it.
My thoughts on resellers.
Resellers. Anything that gets popular, people are going to try to capitalize on.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. It's true. You can't show up to a yard sale.
That's true. Everyone and their mother has eBay, and they'll find the highest buy it now price for any single game. They'll look them all up and they'll say, well, this game here is worth $50. I've seen it on the eBay.
You almost don't know if that's a reseller trying to trick stupid people, or if that's a stupid reseller with high hopes. Like, oh, video games are worth a ton of money.
Where'd you come up with that price from eBay?
There's a site that aggregates eBay. It like uses eBay, Amazon, sold listings, and it comes up with like an average value.
Sure. Okay. What's that website?
Video game price charting.
I don't know, I had a woman locally try to sell me a GoldenEye for $100 because she said it was an old Nintendo game and that's what it was worth. Like, people are just clueless, and it's not that they're malicious. I mean, I'm sure that old lady could have used the $100, and that's why, you know, she thought she hit a jackpot when she found it in her attic, but it's the people that know it's not worth, you know, $100 and will list it for $100 in hopes that somebody will say, oh, I played this game as a kid, like, I want to try it again, like, oh, I can't believe I have to pay this much, but yeah, I really want to play it, like, it's sad.
Oh God, no, not from that side.
Boy, some really embrace it. Others think, you know, why are you collecting this stuff?
When it comes to friends and family, I think everybody usually thinks it's really cool that you're collecting stuff when they see things in there. Friends especially, because they, you know, they grew up playing the same kind of games. Family, yeah, it depends. I mean, they understand it. They understand the big picture, that this is all part of a show and everything, and that, you know, it's sort of like, it's, you know, preserving history.
Video games run around, what would Reggie be doing? For fun?
Yeah, for fun.
If I wasn't collecting, I would probably, ooh, that's a tough one, so I would be collecting something.
Jesus.
That's a tough one. I think people need a hobby, and it's very hard for me to compare this hobby to anything else. So it's actually a very tricky question.
Wow. What would my hobby be?
If I wasn't collecting, I'd probably be able to have a lot more fun in my life. I don't have to worry about acquiring old relics of a physical media that's dead.
I honestly don't really know what I do. This is really my #1 hobby, besides playing video games. I like writing a lot, but I like writing about video games.
Well, hell, I didn't do much of that before. Basically, before I collected, I just worked like a maniac. I really didn't have a hobby. I worked 80 hours a week.
If I wasn't collecting, I'd be working a 9 to 5. Miserable.
If I wasn't collecting video games, more than likely I'd have a garden outside, maybe grow some tomatoes, eggplants, watermelons. I like watermelons, so I try to have a watermelon patch.
I'm not sure if collecting ever stops. I think it goes through ebbs and flows.
To the future of the hobby going, you know, it's hard to say. I can't even believe it is where it is now, because, you know, it's gone from kind of like, oh, you're a nerd, to like, wow, dude, you got like a lot of cool stuff. I don't know, it's hard to see it going any higher than it is now, but I definitely don't see it like turning the other direction anytime soon, so yeah, that's a good question, man. I really don't have a good answer for that.
Retro games for us might be Atari NES. For our kids, they might be the Nintendo DS. So there's always going to be a retro scene. It's just going to keep shifting.
Oh gosh, I think it's gonna blow up. I think a lot more is, like I said, there's already a trend now. It's gonna become big. I mean, I don't see retro collecting video games is always gonna be around, and it's always gonna be people getting into it, the younger generation, because they're impressed by us. We introduce them to games, they like it, they want to get into it. It's a fun hobby.
Video games will be around forever. Whether they'll be physical or digital, I truly do not know.
The worst case, I feel like everything's gonna go digital.
And I think I'll always be excited about new video games as long as they have physical media. Because if once it goes to the download only thing, it's just, I don't know, for some reason, for me anyway, it's just not as exciting. I mean, for you, it may be exciting, but for me, it doesn't really tickle my fancy.
I've heard about an upcoming crash over and over again, and there have been several. I hear a lot of people say, you know, the industry's so big it can't fall on itself. I don't know if I believe that, but I mean, at this point, it's not a fad. I mean, it's in almost all the homes.
I feel like it is becoming more mainstream. I mean, it's definitely pop culture.
I don't think we're at a point where like it's just like people are gonna stop buying games. I think there's always gonna be. It's not like you wake up one day like I don't like video games anymore. You know, I mean, like I just don't see that happening. Or even gradually over time, I think people will always be fond of video games. I mean, you mentioned yourself, games will go more digital, and you know, I think that will affect some purchasing habits that we'll have to see.
Do I think there's a crash coming? I do think there's a crash coming. And the people who are in it for the money are in for a rude awakening. People who do it because they love it shouldn't care either way.
But it's happening. And so you go from what should have been a market that would have been like a bell curve and eventually dropped off is like we lose interest. Like now you got the upwards, but like now it's going to be stable. I mean, if the kids keep collecting, like it wouldn't go down because you've got a new crowd. And if it continues, like if we get into some Ready Player One shit and like gaming and life, like it's not like it's no longer pop culture. Like now the two are like weirdly intertwined. Then I don't see it going away because now this is the beginning of the history of the future, if that makes sense.
That's the Cliff Notes version of the film. Can we get the lights back on? All right, we'll do it in the dark. It's okay. So yes, The Bits of Yesterday is a video game collecting documentary. I'm the writer, director, and producer. My name is Darren Peliquin, if you forgot. I'd like to introduce some of the major players that I interviewed and had the luxury of following around and annoying while I was filming and doing production work. I'd like to introduce to the stage first Mr. Reginald Williams. Next, I'd like to introduce a man who's known as many monikers. More comfortably, he's known as Crazy Joe. This is Joe Witter.
The lights on.
How's it going on?
And last but not least, this man also needs no introduction. This man has been very humble to me. He's been great support through the past year and a half, not the full 2 years, but a man who needs no introduction, Mr. John Hancock, the immortal John Hancock. So we're just kind of briefly talk about the film and what it has encompassed over the past 2 years. I say it's 2 years, but it's actually, if you put it all together, it's probably a year and a half, but I've been working on it on and off for 2 years. During the winter months, there aren't any real big conventions, so I get to take that time off, but I thought this was going to be an easy project. I really did. Because I myself am a collector, and I was like, you know what my first film's going to be? My first film's going to be something I like to do. And then I got involved with it, and then I guess I went down the rabbit hole. And I've seen amazing collections like John's. I mean, all three of you guys have amazing collections. Joe's is a little messy, but that's Joe. You consider yourself like a completionist.
I keep whatever I don't have yet, which can get, absolutely overwhelming,
Yeah, I've seen a lot of collections along the way. And, wow, there we go. Okay. Hey, there's Caesar. A big shout out to Caesar. Came all the way from Texas, huh? Yeah. Awesome dude. He's a good friend of mine. Did you catch the? Yeah, I saw the trailer. Wonderful. Okay, great. So, yeah, I thought this was going to be an easy project. It's hard to do something like this by yourself, which I have. I've done everything by myself. Not that I'm not accepting help. It's just. I don't know. I felt it would be easy. That's all I can say. Right. Do you guys have anything you want to talk about?
I just think that, there's a lot of perspectives that I appreciate are in this film, without giving too much about it. But it really, what I like about it is you hear from famous people, average collectors, just collecting in general. And I think it provides a nice encapsulated flavor of the community, and you can really tell Darren's passion for this project. From seeing the film, and one thing, being friends with him on Facebook. I mean, people get to enjoy the fruits of this project, but don't see that there's a tremendous amount of hardships and challenges with doing something this huge. And one thing I want to note about this, I was going through a personally pretty hard time, and in my life when I was being filmed at this time, and hindsight's 20/20 and stuff, and so it's funny, like anybody, when you see yourself on film and stuff, it's like, oh, I wish I could have done that over again. I have my expansion now, like I put a cooler part of my game room, and I was at a previous job that was going through some tough times, and so. But yeah, definitely, I'm just thankful to be just a small part of this, and just I really support what Darren's trying to do with this documentary.
Thank you. Yeah, I wish I could do it all over again.
Well, first off, I want to thank everybody for being here. This means a lot that you guys came here to check us out. I also want to say, collecting video games, I don't really consider myself a collector. I'm just a guy who loves games, and I just have a lot of them, and it became a collection. It's been a fun ride doing it, and I enjoy this hobby a lot. I enjoy meeting all you people. We have the same passion. It's just a really fun hobby to be in, and it's great to have people like you in it. I love talking with you guys. You guys are awesome, and you make it worth it. Back when I was in high school, couldn't talk about video games because you'd be labeled as a nerd. So I had to it was funny. I couldn't if I had a GamePro magazine or Nintendo Power, I couldn't let anybody see it because they saw it. That was it. So, so not until I got maybe until my early 20s, I met folks who love video games, and it was a great hobby. It is a great hobby. So, Darren, I just want to thank you for it's an honor being in this documentary, man. It means a lot to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
And you're doing really good work on it, man. So that's all I have to say. And Retro Game Players, man, we love you.
Yeah.
Big shout out.
Yeah, honestly, it's I know I'm the writer, director, producer, color, editor, everything else, but if it wasn't for not just these three guys, but the 35 other people that I've interviewed, I mean, I'd have no film, and it's for the love of the culture and the hobby that is what I really tried to encapsulate in this. It is a long film. We're 2 hours and change. I'm trying to get it down to a more enjoyable, palatable viewing rate. But honestly, it's really hard to encapsulate such a broad spectrum of everything. I mean, you go from people who have huge collections, like John, you have, Reggie's you're in school and you collect, but you collect a certain thing.
Yeah.
Joe collects everything. I collect just Nintendo, so it's hard to pinpoint one specific type of collector and kind of run with it. I know there's other documentaries out there, I'm not going to name any names, but they're solely one-sided, and I tried to be multifaceted in trying to, I guess the word is encapsulate, like put everything together in a small bundle about us as collectors, and that's what I tried to do. Any thoughts? Any thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, I just want to thank, first of all, Reggie for even, throwing me a bone and introducing me
Yes.
to Darren.
Oh, yeah, that's a story.
Yeah, I had no idea, and like you guys were saying earlier, you wish you could go back. I watched myself on some of those early things, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so nervous, which I was. I was absolutely nervous, but right off the bat, Darren and we really hit it off, and I became comfortable right away, and
That was, I'd have to say, one of the biggest struggles to starting off was initially, when I thought this was a good idea, sorry, I'm just a little self-deprecating on that one, I made a hit list of all the people that I wanted to interview for the film. It was John Hancock, it was Reggie, it was essentially all the Seattle people that you see on YouTube, and other people including John Houston. I know the auction starting soon. But to meet, to all these people, not a lot of people were wanting to interview just a guy with a camera. As you said, I was so nervous meeting this guy for the first time. I remember I talked to Reggie one day on the phone. Took me a while to get you on the phone. Yeah. I'm pretty persistent. And then we talked, and then later, after dinner, which would be Eastern Standard Time for me, he's like, hey, I have a friend named Joe that I want you to meet. And I was like, who does this guy think he is? This is my film. I'll pick the guys. So a couple hours later, I was in bed, and I couldn't sleep because I was kind of excited that things were, in the beginning stages, things were starting to come together. And it's like 12:30. I get this message saying, hey dude, it's me, Joe. I'm Reggie's friend. I'm like, all right, okay. So, long story short on that, I flew out, I interviewed John, Reggie, Kinsey, Toby Wickwire, Rick Weiss, and in the mix, Mr. Joe Witter. And yeah, we hit it right off. And I think we were all nervous when this whole production started, because I'm just a guy from the internet, and yeah, it was. I'm really glad that we all kind of meshed on this.
The funny thing too, I get asked a lot about my collection. It's been featured in magazines since 2004. I believe was the first public publication of my collection. And the challenges was I was pulling two jobs, and my YouTube was taking off a little bit and fried. And here I see this aspiring filmmaker. I really liked him. When I met him, I felt like he was trying to convey a message that I think needs to be discussed, and I think he was he had some. I believed in what he was trying to do. I think this needs to be done. This needs to be told, and it's hard. It's hard sometimes, for me in my own life to just take pause on any time. My life is constantly in movement, and things are better now, but it's just one of those hindsight things of gosh, maybe my hairstyle, man, it looks like crap. I had those my forensic interviewing glasses on, and it's just one of those things where I wish I could have been more colorful, but hindsight's 20/20. You're own harsh critic.
It's true.
And the thing is that thankful to just be part of this.
Yeah, I'm very grateful to have met and had the pleasure of even getting a chance to speak with some people. The top two people that I was very nervous to meet, some of you may agree with this. Number two would be Pat Contry. No, it's kind of nerve-wracking. But the first one is actually Kinsey. Because she's a girl, and it's hey, I'm a guy, and I'm coming over your house.
She was nervous to meet you too as well.
Yes, she was very nervous.
I saw a tweet about that. So.
Yeah, she was nervous, but I think Tony was there, so it didn't feel that awkward, But so yeah, it's been quite a journey. close to 30 people were interviewed for the film. So you saw a few examples of who's in there, Billy and Jay and all that. So it tells a story through vignettes. So if you just saw a kid that kind of looks like a younger, thinner version of me, that's my son. He plays like the bumper between each vignette. And it does tell a very linear story. So it starts off, like the five, kind of like the five aspects, like the five musketeers, if you will. You've got each person that you see, like Joe, Reggie, Tony, Ryan, and Sean. They all bring something different to the table in a different aspect of collecting and how they approach things. Sean's a YouTuber, Joe's a stay-at-home dad, Reggie is he's a student YouTuber, and Ryan, he's just a young kid who feels like an old soul, who's very knowledgeable. It's very strange. Ryan's quite a unique individual. Everyone's a unique individual, but it's been quite a ride.
So, do you guys have any questions for us?
Yes, let's field some questions.
Don't be shy.
Don't everybody raise your hand at once.
Yeah.
So, as a fellow collector, I gotta ask: is the film going to be distributed on physical media?
Yes, and for those who also are interested in, who also collect analog, the film will be released limited quantities on VHS. So it'll be digital, DVD, Blu-ray, and VHS. And if you're interested in knowing, as we speak of this moment, we do have a pre-order campaign on Indiegogo, so you can get yourself a copy if you so wish. So yes, VHS.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm very excited about that. When do you think it's going to be released?
Let's get the Indiegogo finished, and then we'll talk. So it should be there soon after, so hopefully by the end of the year. Yeah. It takes a while.
Yeah.
John Houston?
You have lots of questions, John.
I saw your hand up, John.
No, I'm just teasing.
John Houston's in the film for a second.
Jesse?
Can I put it for the Laserdisc version?
We need a bigger budget for that, but I'm pretty sure that could be accomplished.
I'd like that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Cool.
Put that on your laser active.
Yeah, man.
Sir?
So how many hours in total did you shoot of footage?
I have over 135 hours of footage, and to sit in front of a computer and cut it down to an appropriate 2 hours
That must have been tough.
it's very difficult because everybody says something cool.
Yeah, you want to add it all.
And then it's be like a battle royale where it's like, okay, who answered this question the best? And yeah.
Do you ever worry about like, oh man, this guy's gonna be disappointed, man?
Yep.
I cut, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
would lose sleep over that.
Yeah,
Personally, I'm sure
I felt like I had to pick like, which child do you like the best?
I felt like I was bugging him. Like, at first I was supposed to be in another documentary, and that documentary like changed its perspective, and I was honestly disappointed because I don't just invite anybody to my house to film. Like, I can count probably less than 30 people who've seen my game collection in person. So when someone wants to come over and film, honestly, it's like, if I'm going to give you more time than I see my wife in a week,
I don't even know if I'm married anymore.
but it's one of those things where there's no expectations, but the sacrifice is at least a small part on my end of just time. Time is like, everything to me. And so, I was just honored to be part of it. And after not being in that other documentary, and I was disappointed, but I didn't say anything. I let it go, and I just had no expectations with this. Just like, well, it's either going to be used or not, and to just let it go and just be like, just be happy part of it.
Yeah, sometimes that's the best way to go into it.
Low expectations, which I had to learn as a filmmaker making this, was like, some days people aren't going to respond to messages, and some people aren't even going to respond at all, and it's quite a journey.
I was just like, I just wanted to be in the credits, you know what I mean? I'm like, hey, if I'm not good enough for the film, it's cool, so big surprise when,
Have your name in there. Awesome.
Right, because you have to have low expectations. Like, I'd go interview somebody and I was like expecting something and be like, oh gosh, they do it so well on YouTube.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. Yes.
Is there a certain game for all you guys that
It's like eluding you that you can't find it no matter how hard you try.
Yeah.
I can find it, I just can't pay for it.
There's two of them.
That's true.
Mine right now is Valis 2 and 3 for the Turbo Graphics. So expensive, and I just can't pull the trigger. You know, when you spend over $100 for one game, you're gonna have buyer's remorse no matter what. You know, so I just I want it, but I can't do it. So.
What about you, Joe?
Maybe Time Gal and the Laser Active. There's no way I can afford that game, but ever since I saw it, I've wanted it.
Yeah, I'm not really.
Yeah.
I'm a NES collector. I'm an NES fanboy. Not really any game I'm looking at for in particular. Obviously, there's like NWC and whatever. But to start the film, I originally sold my collection, and so now I'm building it up. I'm at like 350 something. But I'm looking for Nintendo signage, like old, like World of Nintendo type of stuff, retail.
There's one in the auction right now.
I know. 10 more minutes and then we can head out.
Blue Chicago Blues, and I know someone has it.
Oh,
Don't have the money to buy it. I'm a huge Laser Active fan. I want to have a complete set. Long-term goals to have a museum. And I don't know if that, we even had that talk, but.
That's the holy grail for the Laser Active.
And I know someone has it, I just don't have the money to get it. And it's just, I'll wait.
Hand.
Who gave the worst interview?
No. After the Indiegogo campaign gets funded, which it will, I'm gonna write a tell-all book and.
I thought it was me for the record, though. Afterwards, so.
No.
It wasn't me?
No.
We're all right. Then we're all right.
Was it me?
It was you guys.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Is it John Houston?
John Houston?
Houston.
Camera guy.
What are your favorite documentaries?
This one. No, favorite documentaries. I'll start off. I started getting into documentaries about 10 years ago. It was a documentary called Helvetica. And I was like, there is a documentary about a typeface. Because I used to watch the Turtles a lot. I think most of us would watch Turtles. And they would always have like in the background in the cartoon, that one episode, it was like a documentary about plywood. And when I saw this, I think it was Netflix or something like that, I was like, this is so like Ninja Turtles episode, and I watched it and I kind of got hooked, was Helvetica. I was like, if they can make a documentary about a font, they can make it about video game collecting.
I'm a huge documentary guy. I can watch a documentary on anything. So that's a tough one to narrow it down to. But one of my favorites is, I'm also a huge Friday the 13th fan. So there's a really long documentary called, what is it called? Jesus. No, it's not his name. It's wait, is it his name was Jason? There's two.
Yeah, there's.
I think his name is Jason was the more popular one though, right?
Yeah, maybe that's the one. I don't know. It's long. It's good. It's great. You should check it out.
When it comes to documentaries right now, some I've been watching is called Prison Talk, and it kind of explains how people go to jail and they expect them to be rehabilitated, but they come out even crazier than they were before, or whatever reason. Then it goes into why that happens because of what goes on in prisons. And there's a documentary out on YouTube, and it's called Prison Talk by Big Hurt, and he just got out. And he tells you stories about what goes on in there and how it's ran. So, for instance, like if the guards want to make overtime money, they want to make like some more money, they could incite a riot. So there's more time, the overtime to make money. So there's stuff like that going on. So it's dead serious.
Wow.
They will incite a riot to get overtime, and it's some crazy stuff. It's a good documentary. It's on YouTube. So if you guys,
what's it called again?
Prison Talk.
Prison Talk.
Prison Talk.
I don't know the name of it. It's by far my favorite documentary. It's about Magic Johnson and Larry Bird.
Oh, that was good.
I've seen that.
That was
and
awesome.
It's one thing. This is like true story. So I was about ready to leave for work, and the stupid thing, I started the documentary. I sat down, I'm like, okay, just 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes. And my wife walks by and she's like, what are you watching? That's pretty interesting. So I turn around and she's sitting on the couch with me. I'm like, we have to go to work. And she's like, 5 more minutes. This is interesting.
It was
like,
really
we,
good.
stopped everything we did, and I like basketball, and I'm like, I like Larry Bird and Johnson both, but like, it's just everything you'd want in a documentary. It captures your attention, gives you information, it's real, and what is the name of it? You gotta watch it though. Like, I don't care even if you don't really like basketball, you will like this documentary.
Right. It's actually on YouTube as well.
Yeah,
I watched it on there. It's really good. I just can't remember the name either. But yeah, documentaries.
Wow. I'll have to check that out.
Any more questions? You can go take a second turn if you want. There you go.
That's okay.
What are some of the locations you shot at?
Tons. Upstate New York. I live in New York. I'm from New York. Upstate New York, New Jersey, Maine, Florida, North Carolina, obviously Washington and Portland, Washington and Oregon states, Texas, Missouri, and I think that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. My strategy for filming was like if there was a convention and there was at least one or two people on my hit list, like I go to that convention and then interview them there, or try to find some time. I tried to do it the easiest way possible without having to because traveling is just, it's unbearable. It takes so much from you, and then you have to drive, and then you have to go do an interview and be personable and.
Conventions alone tire you out. I could imagine the traveling on a plane and all that.
That's why Pat came in number 2 for the interview, is because he gave me time. I had to go across a parking lot in Texas. Everything's big, so I had to go across this parking lot in 90-degree weather with the humidity was through the roof. Grab all of my equipment, and then go back into the convention, set up, and then have a smile on my face as I'm dripping sweat and ask Pat nicely to sign my consent form. So,
awesome, dude.
Yeah, I guess so. Pat was very nice, regardless of what people say about him.
He really is.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I was on his podcast, and
Oh, I saw
just
that.
talking to him, I mean, it was a good talk, and I think he kind of gets a bad rap. But,
Yeah.
I've done some panels with him even back in the day, early days of this, and I thought he was a real deal.
Yeah. It was just the circumstances going up to the interview that made it one of the worst. Okay, so now what do you feel about this? And that's how it was.
Yeah.
So has everybody found something pretty cool at the show so far? Are you guys enjoying yourselves? Finding the games you want?
The deals are tomorrow.
That's right.
The deals are tomorrow. That's the big secret.
Oh yeah.
So we're giving you inside information.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
But you're not gonna find the Holy Grail somewhere. You're gonna find the good filler stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you can haggle. And there's certain people you can haggle with and cannot. And that's when you get the deals. And you'll know the people that are wanting to get rid of their stuff, and you'll know the people that are just gonna take it back to the store and don't care.
Casey wants to get rid of a lot of his stuff, so Reggie will
Casey.
have
Casey the
room.
game nerd.
Reggie needs a ride home.
Yeah, the more stuff he sells, I'll get a ride home. So
You
stop
can make
over by his
room in
booth.
that car.
All right. If there are no other questions, we're going to call it an evening. And I know that everyone wants to go to the auction. But one more time, before you leave, there is a pre-order sale going on right now on Indiegogo.com. Just type in the Bits of Yesterday and reserve yourself a copy of the DVD or Blu-ray 2-disc set. So,
VHS.
John, this is your last chance. You have a question? You good?
John Huston's in the film.
John, this is my homeboy.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Once again, my name is Darren Peliquin. We have Joe Witter, Reggie Williams, and
Hey, thanks for
Mr.
coming
John
out, guys.
Haycock. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Hey guys, so I hope you enjoyed the video. The Bits of Yesterday is going to be a fantastic documentary. I am just honored to be in it. A lot of me and my friends Joe, Kinsey, we're all in it as well. It's gonna be pretty awesome. But Darren just needs a little bit more help, and I'm gonna leave a link in the description on the Indiegogo. If you guys want to help out with that, we would really appreciate it. If you guys could help with this would really help this film come out faster. So the Bits of Yesterday is going to be something pretty special, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you later.